Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're here and it has been a long day of racing. I don't even know where to begin, what to unpack. Just wow. Um, yeah, a lot of things to go over between both NASCAR and Formula One. Um, all right. So, since this is such a long video, I think we're going to skip on the Xfinity Series portion of our video because, again, there's a lot to unpack in Formula One and in NASCAR. So, Cup Series specifically. So, we'll start with the Formula One race from this morning. Also, we're going to skip the sprint race from the weekend because, again, I don't want the video to be an hour-long video, right? So, racing debrief. Let's go. Formula One in the morning, right? That was a very interesting race. You had the start of it was, your typical F1 race. I think it was one of those, races that you were seeing in F1. It's like, okay, this is an F1 race. Not much is happening, Some drivers doing pit stops here and there, right? You had all the drivers are all together. So even if you were a leader like Max Verstappen was, he didn't have the advantage to just pit when he felt like. So there was strategy with the field, right? Of when you're pit, because you had guys on 3 stops, so they were a lap behind, so there really wasn't a spot to slot into. So that was interesting throughout the race, but it really came down to the last pit stop that Max Verstappen and Lando Norris had. Max Verstappen, in that pit stop, his team had issues with the the rear left tire of the car. Took him a while to get that off. I believe it took about 6 seconds. So that put him really close to Lando. I think it was about 2 seconds. Lando was able to close the gap with some DRS. And I believe we had a lap car in between that helped him get some DRS. And then that caught up to Max. So, from there it's like, okay, we're going to get a good battle. I think that there was many, many things that happened with that battle between Max and Lando throughout that I felt was a bit ridiculous. I think that the way that Lando raced continuously, just sending it into the corner, was going to cause a collision. I mean, he went off the track, and for some reason didn't get a penalty for that after he had already got a warning. So, I mean, that should have negated the whole situation. He should have got a penalty of 5 seconds. Boom, it's done. FIA once again shows their bias towards British drivers. And, Formula One in general continues that bias towards the British driver and doesn't give him a penalty. So at that point, it still continues to become a battle. And, from there, it's Max and Lando. And I think that in the incident that they had, I'm going to put more of that on Lando. I know everybody's like, oh, it's on Max because that's what the FIA said. And that's what, the propaganda on the internet said. But look at it realistically, right? Max was already, going towards that spot. It's kind of your turn into the corner. Lando kind of sent it there. I do think that Max could have just not moved over as much, seeing Lando was right behind him. But I do feel like that one's on Lando. I don't really get how it's on Max. I don't get the FIA saying that was on Max. I don't get the 10-second penalty that Max got when Lando didn't get one for track limits 2 seconds before. I think that it's very ridiculous that even was a situation. I think them colliding together, it's just a result of racing that way. Now, I do think that some of the things that were said after the race, specifically from Lando, is quite soft and shows the mentality of somebody who, is not of that championship level, that championship caliber. Now, I haven't thought Lando's been a champion caliber driver or even like multiple race win caliber driver really since I started seeing him in F1, right? Since I watched F1 when he was a rookie. That was the first year I watched F1, so I've seen all of Lando's races besides 2 that I missed, right? Every F1 race since 2019 I've watched. besides two, Spain in 2019 and Spain in 2024. So I've seen all of Lando's racing, and there's not been many moments that I've been like, that's the guy. That's a future champion. It's one of those things that he is just soft, right? And I think when you make the comments of Max should have let me pass, he has enough points, is honestly ridiculous. I mean, you're a competitor, right? You're in a competitive sport. Nobody's ever going to let you pass for free, right? You don't let somebody pass. You don't let somebody win. That's not how sports works. And for Lando to sit there and be like, oh, Max should have let me pass, is just absolutely ridiculous. I think that's one of the softest things that I've heard said in quite a while in sports. That is just absolutely ridiculous. That's like, I have no other words to describe it, but genuinely just soft. Super, super soft by Lando to say that. And then for Lando to sit there and demand that Max apologize for their friendship. Like, bruh, you're competitors on the track, but you can still be friends off the track. I don't think that saying that's... I get how that could affect your friendship, but also to like put that out there like that is very weird to me, right? To make that the thing that you're just like, no, he has to apologize for crashing me, because he's almost acting like he has to be at a different standard, when he races Max, because Max is his friend. And I think that the way he's acted, the way he's been towards Max, I feel like there's moments when just like, why is Max friends with this guy, right? I think that there is a genuine question. The way that Lando was on the podium when they were all kind of cheering for him over the Dutch anthem a few races ago. Was that Canada, maybe? Canada or somewhere earlier in the season. I remember that was a thing, though. He was kind of like on the podium, like, laughing about it, kind of encouraging it. And some of the comments he's made towards Max in interviews, it just doesn't feel like something you would say about your friend, especially publicly. And I get if you make a joke, in certain ways about your friends in certain elements, but I just feel like that if you guys are that friends and you're that close, that doesn't seem like the move to make. I don't know. I think that Lando is soft and is obnoxious and is one of the drivers that I dislike the most. And I see a lot of that online. I think that you have the people that are like super obsessed with him, but you also have a lot of people that don't like him and the way he acts and the way that he is. And I think that this kind of proves that. I think that overall, you look at that race and that incident, and I think there's a lot of things wrong with it. Again, I think that the way Lando acted, I think the way that it was handled, the way that the media handled it, a lot of the articles were attacking Max for some reason and saying this is because of what they allowed in 2021, and again trying to bring that up when I think the way that Max and Lewis raced in 2021, I didn't see a problem with. I don't think bringing that up makes sense, and I just think that continuing to try to pile on negatively towards Max doesn't really make sense. And again, I get it's the British bias of Formula One. It's a noticeable, tangible thing. I've written about that on my website, epicityway.net, right? I wrote about that, or you can watch it on X, or read it on X, right? I wrote about the way that Formula One is towards, people that are in different countries, right? I wrote about how they feel about having Americans, right? And how they want American money, but they don't want to have American drivers or American teams, right? By not allowing in Colton Herta, or not allowing in the Andretti team. So I think that there is a certain bias towards that, and when they have drivers that aren't British winning championships and being the dominant driver, and the team isn't a British team, right? You have the team is Austrian. The winning driver is Dutch. So they're not happy about that, right? When you had Mercedes winning, that was Lewis Hamilton. He was British, so it was okay. The only exception to that is Ferrari, right? Because it's Ferrari. That's the only time that somebody that's not British winning is okay. And I just think it's ridiculous. So I think that's ridiculous. And again, I think the way that Lando acted was ridiculous. Now, I don't think that there's parts of it that are, without fault. I'm not saying Max did nothing wrong. I think that, some of the moments, some of the blocks could have been a bit late. But I don't think in that last crash, or that the moment that resulted in contact, is Max's fault. I don't think that should be a 10-second penalty for Max. Not that it mattered, he was going to finish 5th either way. But I don't think that should be a penalty for him. But you should look at, Lando getting a penalty. You should look at giving him the penalty for the track limits. Now, the things that happen after, where Max is, annoyed with Lando and tries to push him off the track when they both have flat tires, that's a different situation. I think that's a bit extreme. But I understand it, right? I come from watching racing where things are a little bit more lenient, right? Watching NASCAR, things are a little bit more lenient if you're mad at somebody. I'm used to seeing, guys go and fighting after a race. So, I think this is fair game. But, man, I have no idea. I think that it's one of those things that it's been an interesting day. I had a lot of comments about it online, a lot of posts that I made on X, Instagram stories. My brother and I haven't talked about it. He's a Lando fan. I'm a Max fan, obviously. That's kind of been noticeable throughout the channel. If you've watched the channel or, been on X, depending on what platform you're watching on, you can notice it throughout either one of those platforms. So, Max is my favorite driver. Lando's one of my brother's, top 3 favorite drivers. Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, those are his drivers. So, he's going to be passionate about that. So we haven't talked about it. I know he sent me something here on Instagram, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, it's one of those things that I'm done. I'm done with that race. Yeah, I'm over it. Let's move on to the British Grand Prix. Let's bring on the booze. I'm ready for it. It's whatever. It's the, next week we're on to that. So, Max Verstappen leads the championship by a higher total than he would have if Lando got second. So, works out. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Definitely recovering from being sick still, from going to New Hampshire. We're almost there, though. I can feel it. I can feel way better than I was days ago. I mean, if you guys watched the Hailie Deegan car, that one right there. Ooh, move my finger over. Come on. I'm really good at this. There it is. Hailie Deegan car. You guys watched the diecast review on YouTube and on X on Sunday. You'll see how I felt then. That was done, I believe, Thursday or Friday. Had to be Thursday. The way I felt in that video compared to this, way different. We're getting better. I'd say I'm like 95%. A little bit of cough, a little bit of stuffed nose, I had some nose spray. We're good. Alright, so NASCAR Cup Series race. This race had, everything. Alright, the first 2 stages were absolutely dominated by Christopher Bell. He went out, won them both, dominant fashion, right? Christopher Bell looked like the driver to beat in that race, but then he crashed. He got loose, and after pitting late, or pitting at one of the points in the race, put him further back in the field, he got loose, spun around, hit the wall, he was out. So from then on, it definitely became, more wide open, right? And I think that race definitely changed in that moment. You had some of the drivers towards the front that had stayed out, and they didn't pit, or they pit, 2 tires or whatever, and that created a little bit of chaos there, right? Now, you'd have the rain delay, of course, as well, so we've had that throughout races. Seems like every week we're getting some rain interruption. Of course, we had last week in New Hampshire, where, it rained every day. If you guys watched my racing debrief video from last week, when I was in New Hampshire, at the race, you'll have seen something about that. Of course, if you guys watched the race, you'll know that it rained for 2 hours. And also coming out very soon, I'm working on writing an article about my trip to New Hampshire. I was working on it during the rain delay for this race. I wanted to get it out earlier, but, being sick, I didn't really feel, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it Wednesday. And that's when the sickness really hit. And then Thursday, still wasn't feeling it. Friday I had to work, and then I went to a basketball game. Saturday, did stuff all day in the morning. Fell asleep when I went home because I was still, recovering from my sickness. And then watched the race that night. So I didn't really get a chance to write it out. So during the rain delay, I did take that opportunity. I don't think it's going to be out by the time this video goes out, but should be out soon. Again, I wanted it to be out before the national race because, well, now that's, the previous race. So, or 2 races ago at this point. So that's coming out, though. But either way, we had a rain delay. Took some time, wrote my article. Check out EpicCW.net if you haven't. You'll see it on a box, or on the screen, up here, or somewhere. Somewhere here. But yeah. So, again, Christopher Bell crashes out, right? Opens things up a little bit. Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain sets up to be the battle. Some of the guys that were in the front, they had to pit. And, you get them going, right? It's Chastain, it's Hamlin. We're going to get a great battle. Chastain won Nashville last year. He's trying to go for his first win of the season. And then you have Denny Hamlin, who's trying to go for win number 4 to kind of break that tie between himself, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Larson. They all have 3 wins. They're trying to break that and, work their way into the playoffs deeper. So Denny Hamlin, get those 5 extra points. That's big for him, get that 4th win. So it's big between, Chastain and Hamlin. Of course, they had their issues back in 2022, so anything can happen, that can always come back as Denny Hamlin. I mean, he seems to have issues with everybody on the track, so, it could happen. But it's looking like they're going to race for each other. Denny Hamlin's team saying he's going to be there with five laps to go. Hamlin's coming, though. He's catching up. I think he catches up about 15 laps to go. Him and Chastain really moving around the track. Super exciting battle, right? Every turn, they're going in different spots. Chastain goes low, Hamlin goes middle, and then next lap, Chastain goes middle, Hamlin goes low. They're switching in the turns. It's super exciting, right? Brilliant, what you want to see for the lead. Chastain's on 2 tires, though. He doesn't have the new all the tires, right? New all the tires. He doesn't have 4 new tires, right? Hamlin has 4 new tires, so he's on fresher tires. So Chastain is a little loose, slips up, and it's like, all right, well, Hamlin's going to win now. About, 5 to go, whatever. Now, personally, I wanted Chastain to win. We kind of have in my house, we kind of have, if one of our 3 drivers wins, somebody's favorite driver wins, it's good. So my dad's favorite driver is Ross Chastain. My mom's favorite driver is Kyle Larson. Mine's Ty Gibbs. So, if somebody's driver from that group wins, we'll be happy. So, we're all rooting for Chastain. I don't mind Denny Hamlin, though. I'm the only one that doesn't mind him. My dad, not a fan at all. That's the only driver he doesn't like in the whole field. And my mom's not really the biggest fan. But, again, I like all the Joe Gibbs drivers. If Joe Gibbs driver wins, it's cool. I got the shirt, right? I got Team Interstate. So, any of them winning's cool. I'm good with it. But, in that moment, I would like to see Chastain win. But, all right, it's not going to happen. Hamlin got the win. It's over. Half a lap from the race being over, Cindric spins out. All right, one overtime, everybody's a little close on fuel. Who's going to make it? But everybody's feeling good. Go into the first turn on the restart. Larson clips the bottom of the track. Just a little bit, right? And I think he was, getting aggressive with Hamlin. They had issues earlier in the race. They've had issues for a while now. Last year, last week, they've had issues. So, it's one of those things that I think it was a bit of both. I think Larson just getting aggressive for it, but I think he wants to push Hamlin. Clips the bottom, gets loose, hits Chastain. Should have brought a water with me or something. Chastain goes on the wall, up the track. Goddamn. All right. Got my drink. We're good. Right. That'll be good to have eventually. And I'll put it there. Right. So we were on Larson hitting Chastain. So Chastain goes at the track, spins out, hits the wall. His race is over. Ty Gibbs comes in late. Hard hit there for both of them. A bunch of the other cars crash, right? Okay, second restart. Now, NASCAR has made the decision to put Kyle Busch fourth. And it's weird because Kyle Busch, when Chastain goes up the track, he's in the wall. Ty Gibbs hits the front of his car. But Kyle Busch is stuck, right? This is the track, right? This is Chastain. Kyle Busch is here. He can't go anywhere, right? He's against the wall. Like, there's nowhere he can go. So, I mean, when you have Jeff Burton calling out NASCAR, you might have made a mistake, because Jeff Burton's one of the dudes who, everything NASCAR does is brilliant. He's that dude on NBC. He will just be like, no, NASCAR is fantastic. Everything they've done is the greatest decision in the history of the world. He doesn't get critical. So when he says, nah, yo messed up, you probably made a mistake, because he's willing to say it on the broadcast that NASCAR messed up. So they definitely did make a mistake by putting Kyle Busch there. But whatever. All right, second restart. I believe this is the incident where you have all the drivers crash in the back straight. Another restart. Denny Hamlin survives. All right, third restart. Kyle Larson runs out of fuel, misses the gear, whatever. All right, Kyle Busch hits him, spins out into the wall. Another restart. All right, here we go. Hamlin's pit, Truex's pit. Let's go again. Now it's Logano and Briscoe at the front. They're taking off, doing their thing, and Briscoe's getting mad at Logano. Logano's running off the track. They're about to come off the corner, take the white flag. Josh Berry spins out. Another restart. All right, here we go. Now we should be on what? Restart number 4, 5, whatever. Everybody's running out of fuel, right? Throughout this. Every lap, somebody's pitting. Somebody's coming in. Somebody's running out. Next restart, Chase Elliott, he drops back, runs out of fuel. Some of their cars behind go spinning through the grass. All right, now we're on to restart number 5. And this is the one, that's the final one of the race, finally. In there, you have a restart. Joe Logano gets a brilliant launch. Had a Zane Smith, Chase Briscoe, some other guy. I don't remember at this point. Everybody's up there. Tyler Reddick's coming, though. He's working his way up to the front. It's Reddick, Logano. They're right there at the front. And off turn 4, Logano. You can definitely tell Logano's car's run out of fuel. But he goes up the track, blocks Reddick, comes down the track, runs out right at the line. Zane Smith ends up getting second. I mean, that's crazy. How Joe Logano, though, made it that many laps. I think it's had 106 laps since he pit at the top of the screen, like, on that last restart. So he had to go at least 108 laps. I have no idea how Joe Logano made it 108 laps on fuel. That is just insane. Absolutely insane. But he gets the win. He's in the playoffs now. Joe Logano, first win of the season. Definitely shakes up the playoffs because he was about 16th or 17th, him and Bubba Wallace. So jumping up with a win definitely shakes things up. You have Truex, Gibbs, Bowman. They were all solid, but now they're going to go down a little bit. So it's definitely going to shake things up with Logano moving up. So we'll see what happens. Absolutely insane. That race had to be 330 laps. This was be 300. I know I said 325 at one point towards the end there. So you're close to 330 laps. I can't think of a Cup Series race that's had that many overtimes. Like, I'm trying to think if I can remember one. I know a few that have gone like 3, but 5 overtimes, that's insane. But again, Joe Logano gets the win, locks himself into the playoffs. So, interesting day overall for racing. Man, it's a day. It's a day for sure. But either way, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys next week. I'll not be sick next week, okay? We're gonna recover. We're gonna recover fine. We're almost good. Again, doing 20 minutes of talking uninterrupted made me cough a little bit. Makes me a little bit worried for doing Racing Masters. You'll see that video on Wednesday, but I got to record that in, who knows, 15 minutes. So, a little bit worried, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. By the way, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one.